like they used to. Can't place your bets on the 9 to 5. Things don't work like they used to. No, there's not enough to keep you alive.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve Podcast. Today's guest is a YouTuber, a comedian, a musician. He wears many hats. His name is Conrad Johnson. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good.
It's a pleasure to have you here. As I mentioned off camera, I was due to have you on the show a year and a half ago or something like that. And then, I don't know what happened there, but I looked it up and I was like, I wonder if he'd still be interested.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I messaged you. There was a time like a year and a half ago where I was going on Reddit. So occasionally I get bursts of motivation where I'm like, I need to put myself out there. And so I was looking on podcast Reddits and I was messaging people. And I messaged you about a year and a half ago. And you got back to me. And I actually recently just started a podcast that we haven't released any of it yet, but we've been recording some of it. And so I felt like it was good timing that this got set up right now.
There's literally so much to talk to you about. And I was quite excited when I was doing my research for the show because your journey in many ways is a lot like mine, but you're a hell of a lot younger than me. So I think you're 21?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But you were making your first videos on YouTube at like age 8, 9, something like that?
Yeah. Well, the first time I uploaded videos on YouTube was I was 12.
Okay. Right. But yeah. And this is what I mean, because the beauty of your channel is like you can see you evolving over time and trying so many different things. And that's something I really resonate with. Like same here, dude. Over the years, tried so many different things. And, some things you find work, like you've definitely excelled with things like comedy. I've not actually delved into your music. I couldn't really find that, but I was trying to kind of I was trying to find things that, ongoing themes with what you do. And what I was able to find is lots of sketch comedy. Lots of satire, kind of fun, stuff like that. And obviously, as you've gotten older, you've gotten better at that. And then, you try like different series. Like there was one with like something deep sea style.
That was recent.
Exactly.
That was recently. I was looking for a manatee.
As you do, standard.
That was some of the most fun I've ever had making videos. I was going in my kayak and I was recording with my phone, and I was just looking. I was like sticking my phone in the water to see what I would find, and a few times I found cool things. But there was a manatee sighting near my grandparents' house, which is on an island off of Puerto Rico called Culebra. And so I was going out of my kayak into the harbor in front of their house, and I was looking for this manatee that had been sighted there. But like when a manatee goes into the ocean, it usually goes back to the fresh water pretty quickly. So they're super rare in that area, and I think it probably left, and there was one point where I convinced myself that I saw it in the first episode, and then I don't think I actually did. And then late, I never saw it. But I had some encounters with stingrays, and so there was cool stuff that came from it, and I had a lot of fun like editing those. The one thing was I have a whole video explaining what happened to the 4th episode, which was I broke one of my phones by having it in the water. And then my mom lent me her spare phone that she keeps on her boat, and I told her I won't take this into the water. And then a few days later I was like, if I take it in a waterproof bag, that's not gonna that's not gonna have a leak in it. Then I'll be fine. And I was like, oh my God, I'll go back into the ocean. I'll make another video. I'll come back, secretly with this cool video. And then my mom's going to be like, whoa, that was so cool or something. And I went into the ocean again, and it was a very windy day. There were big waves. And there's the long story is on my YouTube channel. Long story short, I tried surfing one of the waves while I was filming with my phone, and it flipped me, and the phone went into the ocean. And I lost that too. And so I lost the 4th episode, which I thought was the best episode. And I also lost my mom's phone. So that was
it's a great story there, though, because you could just be like, "Oh, where's the 4th episode? The bottom of the fucking ocean, buddy." Yeah,
a whole video came from it. Like I recorded this whole explanation video. But it was shameful. It was a shameful moment.
Shit happens, man. I remember doing crazy shit like that when I was your age. I helped film. I'm at that age now. When I was your age, when I was 21, I went to Las Vegas. We were staying in California, and we did like a trip to Las Vegas. And my friend wanted to film a music video out while she was out there. She was in a band, and we had like 2 open convertibles. I don't know what the Chevrolets, maybe. I don't really remember. But what was... So we're in the desert, right? We're going at, I don't know, 150 miles an hour or something. And we're like just taking like drive-bys with the cars. So the idea was just film her going past in the car, right? That's pretty standard. Like, oh, that's nice and scenic. And to do that, I had to be in the back seat of the other car filming, do you know what I mean, as it goes past. That in of itself is pretty standard.
It says 2 cars passing each other at 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, something around that, like very, very fast.
Okay.
But I decided, I need a better angle. So I sat like with, I don't know, like, you sort of get up and then you're on the car itself with your legs on the seats, basically.
Like you're standing or leaning. Are you leaning?
I'm sitting down on the car, on top of the car, at the back. My feet are on my legs. Feet are on the seats.
Okay, I can picture it.
I'm like perched, kind of thing. And when we film it, get the shot, and it's only later that I realized, like, oh fuck, I could have very easily just like flown out of the car and died. I didn't even think of that.
Dude, that's on Hereditary. That's like Hereditary.
That's the thing, man. When you're young, you do shit like that. And then as you get older, you're like, maybe I don't need to do that crazy shit anymore. And you'll see this as you get older as well. And like the stuff that you would have done now without thinking, you'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think on a different scale, I've already observed that happening. I used to do a lot of flips, and I would throw. My brother was really extreme into flipping and parkour and free running and tricking, and I sort of just followed along, but I would still throw some pretty like daring things, and I just slowly became more and more uncomfortable with it, and then now I don't do it that much. I'll occasionally like do a backflip because like people think it's cool, so I can get at like a party I'll be like I can do a backflip, but like I don't do it that often anymore because it's dangerous. I'm not throwing double. Has it ever? I don't think so. No, I don't think. No.
Just to try and show off and then be like, see?
Well, I have done that, but I don't think it's ever led to having sex. No, I don't think it's gotten me a date. Honestly, I usually don't bring it up. I'm like, this is a nice surprise for later.
Ah, I see. Okay, you save it.
I'm extremely humble.
Oh, the dumb shit I've done to impress girls over the years. I just realized just talking helps. Just do that. Just be yourself.
Oh, 100%. I stopped. Well, actually, I just realized I stopped doing a lot of flip mostly because I got a concussion and I couldn't do it for a long time. But I got a concussion over last summer. I was jumping off of a diving board into a pool. I was in Germany at the time, and I had never done a double front flip into water. And a double front flip is a pretty blind move. Like with a backflip, you can look and see where you're about to land. With a front flip, you're pretty blind. You rely a lot on like muscle memory, and I didn't have that for a double front flip, and so I was just holding, like just tucking for as long as I could, and being like, hopefully I make it. And I like over rotated the second flip, and I went flip, face, just into the water. Oh. And I just smacked my head so hard. I actually, my my body shut down, and I went into shock, and my vision went white for like 2 minutes. And I didn't realize that my vision was going to come back. So I got up, like I pushed myself out of the pool once I could use my arms again, and I tried to walk to find my ex-girlfriend, and I was just like walking through this crowd of like German children at a pool, as I literally could barely see, like my vision was completely white. But then it came back, and I was okay. I just had to recover from the concussion, and then I didn't do many flips since then because my head was kind of sensitive.
Can you sort of remember the physical feeling of it, like what that felt like? Because obviously, I've never experienced a concussion. I know professional wrestling, right? I've heard in professional wrestling, like wrestlers often get it like many times in their career, but they'll keep wrestling. But a lot of them tend to say like, "Oh, I don't really remember much," or you just shake yourself out of it, go to the doctors later. But then they're crazy bastards. For yourself, like as you mentioned, okay, so there's the loss of vision initially. There's, I imagine, a sense of grogginess, but
actually, so when I've like smacked my body on the water before, and it's you get like ow, like it's like it hurts your skin, but then like what happened when I hit my face, it was like. Like I was almost immediately nauseous, and like so like I was pretty dazed immediately, and my first thought was that was bad, like that was definitely detrimental what just happened. And I kind of like I came out and I could move immediately. I could move, and so I just swam to the side of the pool and I rested myself there. And then my limbs shut down, and I just had to kind of sit there and wait. I could not do anything. I was just looking around like it's kind of like, did anyone see that? And it's nobody react. It was, it's just a bunch of like That's German weird. People being like,
you know what I mean?
I don't know what is wrong with him.
They were quite clearly injured. Like, so surely someone would be like, hey,
no one, like, literally no one. And I was just like lying. I was just like, rested on the side of the pool. And then my vision started to go, and my hearing also. I initially thought that I bursted my eardrums because I couldn't hear well. Like it was really muffled. And then that started to come back. And then my eyes started to, like, everything got really washed out. And I started, people walking by, I couldn't make out their faces, and I could just, they were just kind of white, like sort of angelic beings walking around. And I thought that was my new vision. I was like, damn, I guess I'm like kind of blind now. But then I came back and I was not blind, but So like it's the same as it was before the smack. But then once I could move my arms and legs, I pushed myself onto the side of the pool again, and I started walking around. But I was still kind of nauseous, but I never threw up.
At what point did you know you had a concussion?
I was definitely in denial at first. I was like, I'm definitely going to go back to normal soon. I'm totally fine. And then, I think after like 3 hours, I was like, probably there's something wrong. But I was in Germany, and I was living with my ex-girlfriend's family, and we like slowly made our way. We had biked to the pool, and we slowly made our way back to her apartment, and we just went in, and like we were just like, what do we do? And she was like, you should go to
hospital.
That's the thing.
There's a thought.
I actually didn't go to the hospital. I just looked up like how to recover from concussion, and it was like, don't look at screens, don't read anything, just kind of sit and wait. You just have to like sit and wait. And I was like, okay, so I don't need hospital for that. And honestly, that's maybe not the best approach. But I
got checked up when you got back to the States, though. Like,
eventually, after a few days, I went to an osteopath, and the osteopath, I didn't know what an osteopath was until I did this, and she put her arms under me and slowly like moved her arms up my spine and then onto my neck, and then held my head for a little bit. It was actually really nice. And then she like cracked me in a few places. And then I got up and I asked her, I was like, when you were holding my head, could you hear my thoughts? Like, could you understand what I was thinking? And she was like, I thought that she would know that I was joking. Like I was completely making a joke. And she was like, no, that's a different practice. That's not what I was doing.
Tough crowd, huh?
I was like, I guess there is a mind reading practice.
It's normally the case with doctors. They got no fucking sense of humor. Like, I remember when I was getting this checked out, because I have a condition called poliosis. So I've got like a white eyelash, right? But I haven't had it all my life. I got it beginning of last year.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. So I went to the doctors and I was like, let's just check if it's, not connected to anything serious. So I'm sat there with the doctor, and he's asking me questions, and he's a cool guy, and like yourself, always like to be a bit sarcastic, have a bit of a laugh, to put people at ease, break the tension. It's awkward, let's have some fun. Fuck it, not everything has to be super serious. And so, but like the questions were dumb fuck. Like I've worked like a lot of customer service jobs over the years, right, to survive, so I can keep doing acting and creative stuff. You know how it is. We have to sacrifice for our art. And that shit's stressful. And he asks, he's like, what kind of work do you do? And I'm like, well, I do acting, I do music, and I do like hospitality work. And he goes, would you say you experience a lot of stress? I just start laughing. I just started like laughing hard, and he's just like stern serious, like,
yeah,
not funny. I was like, and then I stop and I'm like, is that a serious question? He's like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, I would say I experience a lot of stress. I was like, have you ever worked in hospitality, bro? You'd be fucking stressed.
When you say you work in hospitality, what is that?
So it's like, it could be hotels, it could be restaurants, like anything like serving food and beverages, essentially.
Okay.
But it's varied. Like I've done a lot of shitty jobs over the years, various different places. Some were good, some were shit, some were crap, some were in the middle. It's just, whatever. but they're flexible and they enable me to do, like I said, acting, music, content creation. So it's worth it in that sense. But yeah, no, I don't know. I never understand people that take life too fucking seriously. Like you have to laugh at this shit. Like you have to. Life is ridiculous.
Yeah. I feel like I think a doctor probably is like getting they're seeing a lot of people every day. My brother's a physical therapist, and he says that the only way that he can get through the day is by making jokes and by like trying to make his patients laugh. And he was explaining a story to me of him like with this one patient who does not have the sense of humor. And like he says these jokes that he says to her, and I'm like, dude, she clearly does not have that sense of humor. And he's like, I have to do it anyway because that's the only. It's like that. That's the only way that I can get through the day.
Imagine he was also a stand-up comedian and he was like trying out material. like,
I don't think a physical therapy practice is the place to try your stand-up material.
I don't know, man. Anything could be funny if you really try.
Totally.
You know.
It's have you done stand-up comedy?
I'm not funny. It would just be me on stage, like just bemoaning life and complaining. Although
that's what a lot of them are.
So yeah, well, if people want to pay to hear me rant, I'll fucking do that. I'll take your money and rant.
That works.
Just be like, so this is why this is shit. Like for example, my rant on clubbing. I like to pull that out every now and again, and I challenge anyone to tell me I'm wrong. Although I'm intrigued as to what clubbing was like in America, because I can tell you here in England, it's the shits and hasn't been good since the 2000s. It's just overpriced and the music shit, and they judge you before you even walk in the building.
Wait, what kind of music is it?
Imagine like a mega mix of music that never ends and has like a lot of, I don't know, the top 20 in the charts. But like every time your favorite part in the song starts, they'll basically take that away from you and give you some shitty drop.
Transition?
Yeah.
They do like a different drop.
No, just drops. It's like the mega mix of shit. Like, you know, if it just remixing, but like, I mean, you must have heard like bad remixes where you're like, man, that's so shit. Why would you even bother? Like the original.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like sometimes you hear it on the radio, there'd be a remix. And sometimes remixes are good.
But yeah, I remember like when I used to be exposed to the radio consistently, which was when I was much younger, like, 2016 and stuff. I remember some radio mixes, just hearing them, and they were the most. I would describe it as like just sort of like having the original song and maybe raising the BPM a little bit and putting a kick, and that was basically what the radio mix was, but yeah,
I hate that. It's so lazy. I'm like, that's not a remix. That's like the equivalent of going on YouTube and just like speeding up the video. Like that's like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's great. Did you see how quickly the guy talked? It's like, well, playing it like times 2. Fuck you, man.
Yeah. That's so like, where in the UK do you live? You don't have to be super specific. Okay. Okay. So you live in Manchester. I don't know much about the UK.
You ever been?
I live in. What did you say?
You ever been to the UK?
I have been to Scotland.
It's good. Hey, Scotland's beautiful.
That's part of the UK, right?
Yes. You're saying
okay. Okay. Yeah. At the end, I've been abroad in Spain twice, and the first time at the end of the trip, me and my friend from the program, I sort of followed him on his solo trip. We went to Salamanca and then Madrid and then Scotland. He was like meeting his dad in Scotland, and I was there.
Okay.
I was there for 6 days in Edinburgh.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
it was
Edinburgh's
interesting.
a fucking cracking city, man.
Edinburgh. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. I know the pronunciation is important.
So
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
Kinda
Edinburgh.
Less bruh, but more. Technically,
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, but they say it kind of
Okay.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Edinburgh. I am not the person to ask about American clubbing. I've not American clubbed.
No. What
I've
kind of
not-
stuff do you like to do, like with your friends? Like, where'd you guys go?
Each other's houses.
Cool.
Pretty much. We just I hang out with my friends at the dining hall a lot. I'm at a college. I go to the dining hall, or we'll go to. Honestly, that's usually where we start, and then or we'll hang out like in the car, like we'll go in the car and like listen to music or something. Like that's where we'll show each other the music we work on.
Whereabouts are you guys living? Where you from?
I'm from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Is that
Yeah.
where you're at now, or are you in?
That's where I am right now. I grew up on Cape Cod, and I am now at UMass Amherst, which is in western Massachusetts. I grew up in the east on a peninsula called Cape Cod, and then I moved to the west.
Boston, Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Boston, yeah, Boston is like, I live like 2 hours from Boston. I live like 2 hours west of Boston.
The only
Boston-
reason I know it is because of John Cena. It's from Boston, Mass.
Oh, okay. So
That's all I know.
I didn't realize he was from Boston.
Yeah. He used to get booed out of the fucking city every time.
Out of Boston?
Yeah, I mean,
Out of his own city?
It's just wrestling fun. It was popular to hate him back in the day, and now he's retired. Everyone's like, no, it's just like typical. But know very little about Boston, to be honest, other than that.
Me too.
And obviously, the Boston Red Sox. Was it?
Yeah, I probably have been to Boston, like the actual city, a number of times that I could count on 2 or 3 hands. Somewhere between 8 and definitely more than 8, but probably around 15 times I've been there.
It's changed completely. You're like 3 or 4 times, 8 times, 15 times. I go there every weekend. I live there. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. I mean, it happens though, doesn't it? You forget sometimes. How many times you've been somewhere. Like I feel like familiar with certain cities in the UK now because I've been there a lot, and just the better because I've lived there for like 6 years. I think I'm from London. I know it pretty much like the back of my hand. I've lived abroad. I lived in Estonia for 3 years.
Oh,
In a claim to fame. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this. But I think it's fun to try out different places. Same with another guest recently who's also from the States, that like in America, obviously you've got so many states, you've got so many different types of life, different types of terrain, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you have a completely different experience, wherever you go. It's pretty cool.
right now it's covered in snow.
Hey,
And I'm.
can you see that? Can you see this?
something
Are we going to see
over.
the snow for the listeners of the show? Oh, goddamn.
Look at
Is that
that.
like 5 inches, give or take?
Yeah, a lot of it is
Damn.
melted now. Which
Reminds
I'm
me
very
of
excited
fucking
about.
Dexter Resurrection when he's up in Alaska or some shit. It's just like in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with the snow, but like the snow's cool. But like living in the snow is no joke.
Yeah,
It's a lot
snow.
of work.
Snow is when it first falls, it's beautiful, but it is a total nuisance.
Oh yeah. The thing I hate the most is when it's snowed over, and then there's that thin layer of ice that goes over the snow, and then it snows on top of that. So you can't see where the ice is. So you just be walking down the street, and then you just fucking fall on your ass, and you're like, "What the hell?" And it's hey, you can get pretty hurt by that. Like, it's no joke,
dude. Talk about getting older. That's like falling becomes so dangerous. Like I've become afraid of falling down. Usually when I fall down, I'm completely fine. No, and I usually I'll do some kind of roll, some kind of preventative roll to break my fall. Typically I'll turn any kind of physical danger or mistake into some kind of parkour move. That's very yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. Like, you know, when you always hear about older people falling over, and you're like, oh, how come they always fall over the stairs? And then as I've gotten older, I've realized, especially in carpeted houses, I don't know what it is about carpet stairs. Like, I never want to have carpeted stairs. I think that's terrible idea. Because you just slip and fucking fall, and you can break your back. Like, it's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember like sliding down that shit as a kid for fun, but I'd never do that shit now.
Oh, yeah. When you're a kid,
caution to the wind.
You have so much like padding as a kid, and just like your body is so not breakable. It's like you're like an elastic band.
My girlfriend was saying something that freaked me the fuck out the other day. She said, like, when you have newborn babies, for the first like year or two, they don't have like certain,
like the top of their head,
it's something like in their head, yeah. Like they don't.
They have a soft spot in their skull that if you push on it, it caves in.
I was like, what? And I was like, I've held a lot of babies over the years. I've got like brothers and cousins and stuff, and I'm like, so like any one of those times, I could have like seriously injured a child. Oh god. Oh.
Yeah, kids are really vulnerable.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting as well? Like, if you look at it from an evolutionary perspective, we are like the most primitive by comparison. Because like animals, like
we're super vulnerable. Perfect. Yeah, they come out and they can walk and run and think. When we come out, we have no idea what's going on, and we're completely. But I think you say that's primitive. I think that's because we're so smart.
Maybe, but we have to like essentially shelter the child until they are of. I mean, like, if you look at it in like hunting days, it would have been until they were able to hunt or at least assist.
Yeah, and that's not until you're like 7. Like, I feel like
maybe.
Like nowhere below 7 could really do any help with hunting. But like, I think that speaks to how much we have to have so much evolutionary trust in our adults to like take care of a child for so long, to get it to the point where it can be as smart as as smart as a person who can take care of themselves. I think it's like a part of it is our brains are so big. I'm not the person to say this is for Vsauce's podcast. He's doing a podcast right now with Hannah Fry. It's a really fun like science podcast. So shout out. There's an ad for him.
One day, every human being will have a fucking podcast. I'm so sick and tired.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's a great show because Vsauce is fantastic, but I just feel like pick a creator, they'll have a podcast. Yeah. But I think you have to look at like the type of creator you are, or actor or musician or whatever, right? And whether or not it's something that you should do. Because like, it makes sense with Vsauce because of like how his video style was back in the day, and probably still is. I've not really checked in a while. It's a trend that I noticed somewhere in the 2010s was everyone started making their own podcasts, or as soon as they got a bit of fame, do a podcast. Oh, just do a podcast. And it's rare that people stick with it. Like, to give you an idea, like I've done my show for 6 years now.
That's crazy. Have you done this every week for 6 years?
Pretty much. I could probably count on my fingers how many weeks I actually missed. And normally it's like Christmas time. I'll take a week off.
2 hands, one hand, 2 hands,
one hand.
One hand. Wow, that's
in the beginning. I used to do 2 shows a week, which was fucking.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't do that shit anymore.
Wow. So wait. So you've done 351 episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I've done more. I've done more than that, but because I've done bonus episodes, stuff like that.
Oh wow!
But yeah, 351 officially.
Wow, and and a different guest every week.
So it's not always had guests. I'd say it's probably 90 to 10%. So 90% guest, 10% solo shows. So I reckon. Okay. I don't know how many guests I've actually interviewed, but I know for definite it's around the 320, 330 mark.
Wow. Have you ever had returning guests?
Yes, lots.
Cool.
Yeah. I love repeat guests, to be honest. Because I think with doing these sorts of shows, you end up forming connections with certain people, and you sort of check in as well, like how's it doing, and it's always cool to see people still doing their thing, I mean, bringing it back to you, because I feel like we've not really spent enough time on you yet, so I want to get into this.
Okay.
Like, you've been doing YouTube for so long, and you've tried so many different things, and you're still in there. And one thing you said at the beginning that I found really interesting, and was something I wanted to ask you about, is the motivation factor. Because inevitably, when you've been doing something for this long, that you get these moments where you're more motivated, less motivated. When I was looking through your account, I could see, you've got different accounts. You've tried, first, second, third account and stuff. You've had little breaks, but then I've not really seen any videos like, oh, I'm quitting, I'm back. It's like you just, you take a break and then here's something new, or here's a. And I really respect that. I think that's really cool. So what keeps you motivated to keep creating?
Thanks. Well, sometimes I look back on my old videos and I go like, who was I at that time? And a lot of my like very old videos, I was still forming my personality and like how I wanted to present myself. And I still am now, but I was like, I looked back on some of those old videos with my girlfriend yesterday, and I was like, some of them are very hard to watch. But what I noticed, one thing I noticed that's related to the motivation thing is that there's like a through line in all my old videos where I was constantly apologizing to the viewer, being like, sorry guys, I haven't made any videos, I'm gonna make more soon. Like I had this idea that I was not making enough, and that I needed to stick to a schedule. I needed to make more, because that's what all the YouTubers that I was watching were. They all had these weekly schedules, daily uploads, and so I was trying to do that, and so in my head I was constantly failing at it. And I was just so all these old videos, they start with me being like, sorry, I haven't made a video. This is it won't happen again. And I just wish that I would have like taken the pressure off. But there was this one video where I was explaining, like, guys, you got to understand. I was like 13, and I'm like, I go to school every day, and so it takes, you wake up in the morning. Yeah, I was like, I have to get on the bus. I go to school, and then I have to take the bus ride back, and then do my homework. And by the time I'm done with that, I have like 2 hours to make a video. And so like as a kid, I was constantly like, I want more time to do this. And there have been times when I felt like I'm doing it the amount that I actually want to. And what that takes is like, basically I need to find a format where I can like make new stuff constantly and then just like do it consistently. And then I feel like I'm doing this enough. But otherwise, pretty much the entire time, I've just felt like I don't make enough videos. And then the whole time I basically am. I don't know. This kind of turned into a tangent. But when it comes to motivation, it's really just like you gotta find a process that you really like. And I've found a few of those. One of them was I started this Pokemon YouTube channel. I started my original channel as Pokemon, and then I pivoted to like variety stuff. And then I started a Pokemon channel that was only Pokemon when I was 17. And then when I was 18, I worked on it a lot. And the editing on that channel is some of my best, like most consistent editing. Like when you watch those, they look good, they sound good. And I stopped doing them because I honestly lost faith in Pokemon as a franchise, which because I was like looking at their trajectory as a game franchise, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm done with their games. But honestly, that kind of changed about a week ago. They revealed the next game, and it actually looks really good. I've been looking at my old Pokemon videos being like, should I make more Pokemon videos? But then it's like, do I want to base my whole, creative thing around this one franchise? I don't think so. So it's like the branding of a YouTube channel is such a specific thing that's really hard to nail. And so I kind of that's why I abandoned this Pokemon YouTube channel. And it's funny to see, like, towards the end of the channel, every video I'm saying, sorry, I haven't made a video in a while, and then it ends. But I've tried, since I came to college, stuff has changed. I used to make a lot of videos just in my house, and the environment changing, like, for a while I was in dorms, and being in dorms made it a lot harder to make stuff. And then I don't know, my whole creative idea, the whole idea of being creative also kind of changed. My idea of the process. I'm going to school for film studies, and so doing film has totally changed my idea of what a video is. For a little bit, I was making these sort of cinematic sketches that were they're not total, when I say cinematic, I just mean they were kind of dream-like. You would just be put in the middle of the action, and then it would end. I really liked those. I watched one of those this morning, and I was like, I should make another one of those. But I'm trying to find a consistent through line in my point here. Make a point about motivation,
where things are headed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was doing music exclusively for a time. I stepped back from making videos for a couple of years at one point. And I just worked on these electronic instrumentals that were they're sort of very video game music inspired, sort of fantasy electronic instrumentals. And I was doing these sort of dreamy hip hop ones where I was using my vocals as well. And I had a lot of fun doing that for a while. That was very serious. I was taking that very seriously. But I was also just experimenting. And then more recently, I've come back to making videos, and I've come back to making music. I haven't released music recently, but I've been working on a big project that is technically is for a class, but I'm basically the class is an an independent study that is consolidated with a bunch of other independent studies, so we can kind of like talk to each other about our independent studies. Which the professor did that because a lot of people asked him for independent studies. And I am working on a project that is it's very musical. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. So I don't want to give away everything, but it's very musical, and it's also going to be very like comedy, like improvised. There will be a skeleton of a narrative that's like, it's a mockumentary about an artist that is me, who's like a very deluded artist who's making these songs. And so I've sort of pivoted from taking music more seriously, which I feel like I kind of had to do for a period of time. And I'm now I've made these 2 songs, and I'm going to make more for this that are satire, that are like, taking genre and using it satire. And that's been super fun.
I have to say as well, I think that it's kind of inevitable for people that have been creating videos for this long, especially when you start getting into the field, you start doing filmmaking, stuff like that. Like you want to get there, you want to do it. Like I would love to make my own films. I've dabbled a little bit. Obviously I've acted a lot over the years. But if I had the money, man, you would see me making films, buddy. I love the art form. I think it's fascinating. I think it's really amazing how you can sort of manipulate shots and tell a narrative. And like, I remember, I think it was Quentin Tarantino that said this. He says that the film is made in the editing room, as in like you can film whatever the fuck you want. You can have a narrative, but the way you edit that and put it together, that is what tells the story. Best example I could give.
That's super true.
Yeah, and it like you ever seen American Psycho? Right. So for those who don't know, American Psycho, early 2000s Christian Bale film, set in the 80s, about a narcissistic man, serial killer in. It's not even really about him, really. It's a comment on the 80s and how just narcissistic and clueless and decadent everyone was, and just how full of themselves they are, and how, I suppose the ultimate joke is, they don't notice that he's a serial killer because they're too self-consumed, or is it all in his head? It's that big question mark. But it is a big comment on the 80s. Anyway, there's a brilliant scene that's spoken about ad nauseum, and it's an editor's dream. So it's a scene where the cop is being played by William Dafoe, and he's interviewing Christian Bale's characters the first time that they meet on screen. And basically what they did is they recorded it 3 different times. So in one copy, he is just having a lovely conversation with him, doesn't, think he's guilty at all. In another one, he's like slightly curious. He's not necessarily accusatory, but he's kind of on the fence. And in the third one, he's like sure that he's guilty. And so what they did is they kind of spliced all of these takes together to kind of deliberately fuck with you. But it works within the narrative because it kind of creates like this conversation where he's kind of going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
But it's also like a comment, I feel, on what's real and what isn't. Because this could be entirely in Patrick Bateman's mind. Like maybe he's just hallucinating the fuck out. Maybe it's just a very normal conversation, but he's like, does he think I'm guilty? Does he not? I don't know. What's going on?
Yeah.
That film is great from a, just if you want something that fucks with your mind. But yeah,
that's really interesting. I had heard that story about that scene a very long time ago, and I'd completely forgotten it.
You see,
that's super interesting.
Films, especially like the older films. I don't know if it's just like seeing it through a different lens, as you get older, but you do tend to look back at things. Like I look at things that I watched as a kid, and I'm like, I see it totally differently now.
But yeah,
just or even just like, shows that I grew up with where I'm like, man, that's kind of messed up, or what the fuck, or but then I realized they're products of their time as well, which is interesting. It's like time capsules in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It shows the moving thoughts and feelings of people and stuff. Although I do feel in modern film now we're kind of sacrificing the story for literally everything else, which that's the core. Fuck with the story and you've got nothing.
What do you mean in modern films?
Have you ever noticed that, like, in a lot of films these days, a lot of the time it just feels like they're trying to like lecture you about something, or
that is true,
or something.
Yeah, modern stuff has very heavy-handed commentary.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, because the riposte to this will always be, you're just being closed-minded. Like, these things were woke before, and it's like, no. Like, there's always been people that have been aware and trying to, like, push messages within their films, in an intelligent way. Sometimes more obviously, sometimes, more subtly. But the key was the story was never sacrificed for that. You can do it in a way where it doesn't sacrifice the story. Because if you sacrifice the story and you're just trying to push all these narratives and stuff, it just becomes frustrating for the viewer. It's just like, well, what is this? Why am I being manipulative? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think some films like balance that well. Like One Battle After Another that came out last year. So like that movie, I feel like balanced story and commentary, but also commentary was so built into the structure of that movie, so it was sort of both. But I've really like ramped up being a film studies major a couple of years ago, and since then, and I'm still going through this process, I have been kind of broken. I've been
you're right.
I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But I've been going through a sort of metamorphosis that I'm still in the middle of, that is basically film being deconstructed in front of me, and so my whole, like, right now I don't like things, and I don't like, I enjoy some things, but like I've had to sort of break my idea of like what my taste is and just watch. And so like lots of things, like I'm watching all these, like, right now I'm in this classical Hollywood class, so I'm watching all these like movies from the 1930s and the 1940s, and it's super interesting. But does not have the same. It does not have, I even catch myself saying this when I say, like, it does not have the same entertainment value as something made today. That's not even necessarily true. And so I'm so caught up. I'm almost so knotted up I can't even say anything. Like, a lot of the time in class, I don't talk, because sometimes I have thoughts, but it feels so hard, and like it's so ineffable as a medium. It's so hard to capture it in one point.
I think that's fair. And like, to be fair, if you're watching early cinema, I mean, it was very much trying to find its footing, because as we all know, acting comes from the theatre, and all of those old film stars that you see were theatre actors who were trying this new medium out, acting on screen, and a lot of them struggled with transforming their performance to the silver screen, and like, a lot of the time they would be told to dumb it down to make a more, I don't know how to say this, like,
realistic,
more honed in, because like, obviously in theater you're appealing to a crowd, you're trying to win the crowd over with your performance, right? But on film, often less is more. Right?
Yeah.
When it comes to acting, you know what I mean? And you're right, realism is a big part of that. often when I've looked at stuff on stage, you know, it's almost like there's many monologues. It's almost like it's not really real. It's kind of like if the character were having a conversation with themselves, because people don't do that. Have fucking monologues in the street, like, what is my life? What am I doing with my life? And like, because if you walk past that and you see that, you're like, oh, okay, this guy's lost it. I could try and help, but he might attack me. I don't know. I don't want to push the guy. You know what I mean? But you hear what I'm saying? Like, it's and I've told this story on the show before, but like, if you go back and watch a lot of those films, you'll notice. Then the next time you go watch like a 40s film, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pay attention to where they're at. If they're in like let's say like a hotel, like an apartment, something like that, 9 times out of 10, there will be like a bouquet of flowers in the middle of the.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you've heard this story. So, for those who don't know, of course, microphones were not sophisticated then, lapel mics and stuff like that. You couldn't hide them. So, they didn't exist. Sorry. More importantly. So you'd have to put the microphone somewhere. So they would hide it within flowers, and they would like often shout across a room. That's why they're very like shouty and boisterous, and they've got like these big emotions. They're trying to be heard by the microphone as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, okay. But I just found that fascinating to learn that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they really had to work with limitations in technology, but sometimes that would actually affect the overall performance.
Yeah, there's a whole bit about that in Singing in the Rain, where the microphone is in the director's like, the microphone is in the bush, and he's trying to like, you know, direct this actor who was a silent film actor who now can't do the talkies because her voice is not trained well.
It's a fascinating film, isn't it?
And cameras used to be so loud that they had to be in a special box to muffle the sound of the camera, and so then the microphone had to be in a different place, or the audio was just all replaced later.
I always find it interesting when you hear filmmakers talk about like rushes. So with the rushes, from what I understand, like, it would take a while for the film to be produced so that you could preview it or something. I don't really know exactly how it works, but like these days, obviously you can watch it back straight away, but you had to wait, and they would do that. They would review the initial film, either during the filming or like sometime afterwards. And like, I just find that fascinating. I've never seen it, never heard about it. Obviously I've heard about it, but like not like, you know.
Do you mean like when they were shooting a film, they couldn't immediately watch what they just shot?
Yeah, there was some limitation because obviously the filming was. I
think the film had to be. Man, I'm a film major. I don't actually understand how it works, but like the film, I think had to be processed or something, yes. and then they could watch it back. Now they got it. They've got it right when they shoot it.
I always do that when I'm on set with a director. I'll just be like, I want to see that. If I feel like the performance wasn't good, I'll be like, let me see that. Let me see that shit. Or if a shot in my mind might have looked cool, because it gives you a totally different perspective as well. It's helped me as an actor to kind of look at how I go through a performance and then how it comes across on camera, and try to play to the camera, but not like perform to the camera, more kind of just be aware of whereabouts it is and factor that into the performance, so to speak. Yeah.
That's a whole skill.
So that's where we're likely headed then with you and YouTube, is probably more cinematic stuff as we move forward. Your serious arc.
Well, the thing that I'm trying to work on right now, I last semester I made this big project called Carl P.I. and the Cursed Necklace. That was a narrative. It was a narrative, like fictional film / it was sort of structured. I don't know. It was closer to like an episode, like a pilot. But like that, I got I think 7 people to act in it, and it was this whole thing that I made. I made the score for it as well, and I'm proud of it. The one thing is, I had my camera. I had this camera. I had a camera before that got stolen a while ago. It's my roommates a year ago threw a party, and some high school kids showed up to our party, and they went in my room and they stole my camera. And so, yeah, and
Who does that?
Dude, kids from freaking Greenfield, I guess. But I bought this one camera that was like off-brand, like $200. Literally, the branding was like digital video camera, and I used that for all of that project. And the microphone that was just like mounted on the top of that camera was shitty. And I processed the audio a bunch in it, but still some stuff just did not come through well. Pretty much everything I say in the project comes through. But it was tough to get my friends to come through on some scenes. And so the only hang up I have about Carl P.I. and the Cursed Necklace is the audio. Everything else about it, I think it's awesome. I think it's hilarious.
I think generally with creative projects, like you kind of have to draw the line somewhere, but it is hard because you could just spend forever editing and going at it, and eventually you just got to be like, yeah, all right, we'll accept it as is, and just move on. But it's hard. It's hard to do that. It really is. I get that a lot with music. Like I'm currently going over my current stuff with my producer, and I'm like, no, not happy, and I'm like, there's only so many revisions you can do before you got to be like, oh.
Yeah, music is something you can be so perfectionist about, or it is such I wonder sometimes, like, how does an artist decide when their music is done?
I mean, sometimes it can be just like a producer, I think, who puts their foot down. I think a lot of the time, if it's a band, I think it's kind of got to be a unanimous decision. Like, all right, let's call it there. But really, someone's got to make a decision. It's simple as that. Someone's just got to say, right, we're ending it now. Like I listened to my album and I'm like, there's tons I could have done differently. But I did the best with what I had then, and I try to look at it like that. You do the best with what you had then. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point looking at it in hindsight and being like, oh, I could have done this, and this. And it's like, well, maybe you didn't have those things then. You definitely weren't thinking that way then. So it's kind of a null point, really. But obviously, if you look at it from the like learning lessons perspective, it's like, okay, next time I'm going to do it like this. So I think that's the more important thing to bring with you. Anyway,
I look at it as a continuous. I've become more of a perfectionist, and I thought I kind of wanted to. I started being more meticulous and working on making stuff sound more polished, and that just takes longer. Before this was a very prolific in my output of music. I was working on my like electronic instrumentals all the time, and mostly I would in the bathroom. I would sit on the toilet and I would make them, and I made a few albums just by having this one policy, which was when I finish a song, just put it on YouTube. Just put it on my music YouTube channel. And so I was just putting it out. I would just like put a picture of an animal and put the title of the song, and then just that would be that video, and then the song's done. Can't touch that anymore because it's out there. So and then move on to the next one, make that, put it on YouTube. And then once I've done 8 or so of those, put it together into an album. And so I was doing, that was my process for a time. And then I inevitably started getting more meticulous, and I was like, I want to hide them. And I want to release them when they're done, all at the same time. And then I never released anything ever again. So, but that's just, I mean, I have stuff coming. it's just the timeline became way longer because I became more of a perfectionist.
Would you say like life kind of gets in the way as well?
I mean, yes, as in like there are a lot of things outside of music that I do have to do. But getting in the way, I mean, like I just was sick for a week. So I'm coming off of a point where I had a bunch of momentum before I was sick. I even started filming for this mockumentary. And then the night I started filming, I got sick. And so I like lost momentum for a week. I was totally delirious. And then I've just come out of that. And now I feel like I got to build my momentum back up. So I feel like life totally gets in the way, but it also frames the process. Like it's also like is creating the process. I feel like doing creative things, you just have to be delusional.
Absolutely. I couldn't
agree. Yeah, you have to just, like the way even that I just said that, like yes, life gets in the way, but it frames the process. Like I feel like being creative is so is you just have to really prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean I think you always have to kind of go back to why you started in the first place. And I don't know, for me it was I just wanted to create content and see where it went, and now it's it's a part of who I am, often I find people obviously will relentlessly like judge you for everything you're doing and like say like, have you got these stats? How many subscribers do you have? Are you famous yet? Yada, 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 yada. But like, I remember like never really thinking about that when I first started. Like for you, like, why did you start initially in creating videos? What is the reason you create videos?
I started initially because I thought it looked fun. Like I watched before I started doing Pokemon, I was doing skits but I never posted them. And I was like, I had a MacBook Air and I was 10 years old and I would kind of like write like an outline of a story, and then I'd get my friends and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to set up the camera here. You sit on the bed, do like a meditation pose or something and say this. And I'd be like, I'd tell my friend like, be evil. And then they'd be like, okay, I am an evil guy. And then that I would cut together like a story where like, I am a ninja and I am, training this one guy, and then the evil guy shows up and my trainer guy also becomes evil. And then we have a battle, but I never posted any of these things, but that they were very inspired by early YouTubers like Ryan Higa, Smosh, Rhett and Link. Like I was very inspired by early YouTube. And so one of the pieces of feedback that I get about my videos consistently is that they sound like, is that they feel like early YouTube.
Yeah. I have that in my questions here. Like it's a classic style, but to be honest, it's kind of heartwarming. It's such a breath of fresh air from everything I see on YouTube these days. And, I think it's awesome that you do that, but it's not like, it doesn't feel outdated or something. It just feels like you've managed to capture the essence of that, but you're still doing your thing, and you've obviously honed that over time, and you've kind of found your style, and you're confident in what you do, and that's really cool to see. It's like, I think that's what I really like about you is it kind of feel like we're kindred spirits in a sense, because it's like we tried a lot of different things, we worked through it, found like what we're comfortable with doing, and you do it and you put it out there. What would you say your thoughts are on the state of YouTube these days? Because obviously, you know, that style is gone, unfortunately. You know, there are still people like yourself keeping it alive. What I see these days is a mixture of fucking commercial channels, fucking whatever the latest Mr. Beast thing is, and scammers, basically. That's all I see. Like, I don't know.
And podcasts.
Oh, well, all right, let me talk to you about podcasts, because I'm the fucking godfather of podcasts, all right? Yeah. I've been doing this shit for a long time. No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I remember someone about a year or two ago asked me, you know, why should they do a podcast? You know, like, or kind of, they were trying to kind of gauge my thoughts on doing a podcast. Should I do a podcast? And I said, if you're willing to put the work in, doing a podcast is a lot of work. I think a lot of people look at it like, oh, great, I can clip farm from this. And, you know, at the end of the day, you got to do it because you love it. It's a lot of work. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. People think it's just you turn on the camera and you start recording and that's it. And it's like, that's really not it. You know, there are probably podcasters that do that, and it shows because their show is the shits. The ones that like put the time in and put the effort in, you know, do the research, structure it, make segments, turn it into something, turn it into a show, are the ones that have the better shows. Now, obviously, things are inevitably judged by how many views, how many streams you have, but it's unpredictable as well. Like if you look at my show as an example, there are certain shows that have had like thousands of streams, thousands of views, whatever, right? There are some that have struggled to get like 5. There's no consistency with mine at all. It's the reason I've not ever really bothered with sponsors, because what the fuck would they have to look at? Like, it's so erratic. Where would you even start with ad placement? But it's also just a bit of luck as well. If you're starting it from scratch and trying to do it, you know what I mean? Whereas if you, and this is what a lot of what we're talking about, what the current state of podcasting is, the market is oversaturated with celebrities, influencers, people that get told you should make a podcast because, you know, it's the kind of obvious marketing ploy, and it's, you know, kind of expected after a while. But like, I see these people that they're just dumbfounded. They don't really know what to talk about. Or, you know, I see like dumb fuck shows like, the whatever podcast, where it's just some dude who probably never gets laid, and he's just being really misogynistic to a bunch of women who all they care about is the way they look. Which
that is a big market.
I don't get it though.
That's those podcasts.
It's like Rage Bait the podcast. Like, what's the fucking point? But maybe that is the point. Yeah. Maybe it's just
that is the point.
Just annoying people. You know, I mean, Eric Bischoff always says controversy creates cash, but I think it's got to be real. It can't be fake. It can't be doing things just to deliberately get people riled up. But you know what? It fucking works. Like, people say that to me. Why don't you do more controversy? Why don't you talk about controversial topics? And I'm like, I'll talk about what I want to talk about. I'll do the show I want to do. I'm not going to just cave just because of numbers, you know, because I've also looked at the people who did that and then became miserable and stuck doing something they hate just so they can make money. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that. I've managed to get involved with that with jobs I hate outside of being creative. And I'm like, why the fuck would I do that with something I love? Like, that's just like I don't know, like it. Yeah, I think the thing that is always interested me is when people criticize you, they always kind of say like, oh, why don't you just do anything to get big? Why wouldn't you just try anything until it works? And it's like, well, especially when you're creating something like a podcast or a certain type of content, you build an audience that has a level of expectation. You know, they expect a certain thing from you, which means, you know, I always hear that, you know, oh, follow your niche, do a niche. And it's like, all right, right. Can't expand out of that. Now I'm stuck. Now I'm boxed in. You know, if we've learned anything from your journey, Conrad, it's that you have a lot of interests in life and a lot of things you want to do, and you're not afraid to just try things and have fun doing it. And it's more about you, really. than it is about the things you're doing. And that's always been the case with me as well. It's like, the product is me. If you don't like me, you're not going to like anything I do.
The problem is, so I've never made it past the point. Every time I start to get bored of a format or some, like, I stop doing it. And the problem with that is YouTube, just by nature of what it is, when you start a YouTube channel, you're starting a channel. And when you think about what a channel is on television, it's one subject. It's a niche. It's like, you know, the fishing the channel is, you know, it's just guys fishing. And like, when you're starting a YouTube channel where you're exploring your interests, people are going to come for one side of that, like one interest. And when you pivot, they're not going to be interested in it anymore unless they become like endeared to your personality or something and they want to follow you through your journey. And I've been lucky enough to have a few people who I've noticed are like fans that I don't even know who they are, and they comment consistently, and I'm like, I love this. But like, my channel at one point got a lot of views. There was one point where I made this one sketch where I play like 4 different characters, and it's just like basically got people saying random things to each other. And I was trying to learn German on Duolingo at the time, and so I was hearing all of these like weird phrases in German, and I was like, what if I just put these in English and then make characters say to each other? And I called the video "How Duolingo Thinks People Talk." And that video got like 200,000 views. And when that happened, I was like, oh my God, okay. I've struck it. I was like, yes, I'm going to try and harness this format. I'm going to make these comedy sketches, and I'm going to, you know, skyrocket into the stratosphere. And I did like weekly comedy sketches for a while. And I like, after like 8 weeks, was super tired of it. I was like, I've coming up with an idea every week, and that's what you have to do to create the expectation of like, of the audience, to get to them to actually watch what you're doing. You kind of create a routine, which is, you know, it's like television.
Yeah.
And by nature, the most successful things are the things that create an expectation and fulfill it consistently. Like Smosh right now, and their Reddit stories series is like a comfy show that just happens on Saturdays. Millions of people watch that every week. It's crazy.
But you've kind of hit the nail on the head there, though. That audience has followed them throughout the years, grew up with them. I'm sure they've gained fans. Some are new, and they've just come across it. But yeah, you know, a lot like that pushed them into a position where it's like, okay, we can do what we want. Let's just try things. And it's the existing audience thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to push Twitch again right now, and most of the time I show up and there's not anyone there. And if I'm lucky, a few people from my audience might come in, and even if just one person comes, I can do something with that. But when there's like no one, I'm like, oh, I gotta fucking just talk to the camera, which I've done before, but it's kind of brutal if it's not a podcast.
Because you're not talking to anyone.
Right. Because I've got nothing planned, whereas the podcast, I've always got something planned. But, you know, it's...
And with the podcast, you kind of know that someone is on the receiving end of it. Like, you kind of... When you're saying a podcast, you get to assume that someone will watch it. When you're doing a Twitch stream and no one's there, you're actually just saying something that no one is hearing.
It's so humbling as well. It really is. You should try it, guys. You want to humble yourself, do a stream to no one. It's important. And as you said, same as yourself, I've got some people who've stuck by me throughout the years, and they're the ones I really think about when I create stuff like this podcast. because there really isn't like a general audience. There's just a handful of people that check it out, and they're awesome. And I just keep doing it because I wanted to always do this show, and I think that I think it's a fucking good show, and I've had some amazing guests over the years, and we've told great stories, and we've really just kind of shown, I suppose, how varied humans can be, and how, you know, the nature of storytelling, and just, you know, like life lessons and everything in between. You know, it's really been like a journey.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I mean, it's like yourself. I just find it too restrictive to stick to one thing, and yeah, maybe it is a problem, and maybe it is like, the thing that's holding you back. But like yourself, I don't want to get boxed in and get stuck. I mean,
right.
I've done all the same things you've done. I've done comedy sketches. I've done like posting every day for like 2 fucking years, 3 times a day, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, TikTok, you know, like long form, short form. I've tried not doing it at all. I've come back to short form. I'm now using a bit of AI to help me with the podcast. Like, I've fucking done it all. And like, eventually you just need a bit of luck. And the internet's stupid as well. It's like, I remember when I got my first viral video, it was like for some stupid dumb fuck TikTok clip that just didn't. Yeah, there was nothing. And then there was another nothing clip, and I was like, "There's nothing to build on here. This is just silly." But I don't know.
The internet, it is stupid and it is random. It's like totally when you hit. Sometimes it just, like that Duolingo video. My friend told me that his roommate got that video recommended to them, watched it, and liked it, and had no idea that it was me. And then I like went and visited my friend and found that out. And like, that's like that video. I had no idea that video was going to reach so many people. And I think if I had known, I probably would have gotten nervous and like, I don't know, been like made it weird.
You know, it's interesting as well, the YouTube algorithm and the way it works, because I don't know if everyone knows, I know you know this, but like when it says browse features in your analytics, that means it's actively being pushed by the algorithm and being recommended. And I look at it sometimes, I look at videos I created like 5-6 years ago that are getting pushed, and I'm like, why? Why now?
Oh, really?
Maybe it's like a keyword, maybe it's a part of the title, maybe something's trending, I don't know. But it just gets pushed randomly. And I think this is why, you know, YouTubers, content creators, never delete any of your content. You know, just keep it there, because you never know what can earn you views and stuff later on. I do things like with my music, I'll put it in the background of videos sometimes. To promote, like where it fits. So like I did something the other day, like there's this meme going online right now about like, you know, reasons you can't go to war or something like that, right? And it's all like, oh, can't be asked, you know, I've got a medical condition, oh, my boss says I have to work that day, you know, shit like that. And I put like this chill song from my album in the background that isn't too distracting. It's just kind of like there. And I have noticed in videos that I've done that, every once in a while, there'll be like one person who bookmarks it. So I'm talking about TikTok now, but they'll bookmark it, and that means they liked the song. Or
they're like, where can I find this?
Right. That's the biggest compliment when I think that they don't always realize it's my music as well, and I'm fine with that. It's still listening to the song, but they'll just say song name, and I'll put it. Christian Reeve, like, yeah. All right.
Like in the comments, they'll comment song name.
This doesn't happen very often, by the way, but when it does, a little bit of a yay, because it's fucking hard promoting yourself. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I don't do it. I used to do it. I used to promote myself. I used to do daily Instagram videos where I'd say, "God, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Conrad's channel." And I stopped doing that because it was one, it was like, it was just very repetitive, and I figured people probably are getting annoyed. I actually had a couple people tell me in person that is annoying. And I was like, all right.
Don't follow me then. Fuck you.
Yeah. So yeah, unfollow. But like then I would just do it when I posted a video, and then I even stopped doing it when I would post YouTube videos. I stopped putting up the Instagram video that tells everybody to go watch it. And it has not really impacted. I think some people were coming from Instagram, but it has not really impacted my view count. But like, yourself as like, I feel like music is like the hardest one to market. To be like, guys, go check this out. Like, it's the hardest thing to convince people. Like, no. You just like listen to it, and maybe you'll enjoy it.
It's hard. It's very hard. With YouTube, I'm curious because I think I've got like, I don't know, 1,700, something like that. I think you got well over like 2,000. So are you?
Yeah, but they don't actually really watch my videos.
No, I know. But are you in the creator program? Did you manage to get in?
Like us get monetized?
Yeah.
Yeah, from that Duolingo video.
Yeah.
Literally just from that Duolingo video, I got monetized. So I make about $2 every some amount of time.
Hell yeah.
Nice, like dude, I think I make about $1.50 a month at the moment. So living large.
There you go.
Shooting it big.
I earn nothing. I'm not monetized. And so there's even more. So
nice.
for anyone who's like, I actually run this at a loss, you know. I think I've said this before.
Yeah.
But I pay out on my ass to do the podcast. Riverside
it's
is
a hobby. It's a hobby
Riverside
with expenses.
Yeah, Riverside is expensive. Let's go to the cost. It cost me £29 a month for Riverside.
Oh my gosh.
Is, I guess that's like $35 a month. I pay for a thing called, what is it? CH Software Suite. So it's like audio and video editing, somewhere close to like £18 every 3 months, give or take, which again is like $25, $26 a month, or every 3 months, something like that. It's a cost, you know? And I'm willing to pay it because I want to do this stuff, but it's, you know, if you ever think about like things like motivation and like, if someone's like, I remember I did a podcast and this guy said my heart wasn't in it, and I was like, "Fuck you, man! Like, you have no idea how much my heart's in this."
He said that to you on the podcast?
No. It was just someone.
Oh, okay.
Listened to the podcast, and
okay.
It was just because, like, in that show, I was kind of a bit negative about like Christmas. I was just kind of like, fuck Christmas a bit, like, but not like in a like, oh, I hate Christmas, like grin. It was more kind of like. Sure. I was saying it was better when I was a kid, and these days I'm kind of not really asked. Like it's, I mean, it's for the kids. Like
yeah.
But yeah, no, I just, you know, because I'll take criticism all day, like if it's constructive, you know, and I really do like consider it if it's something like where I might be ignorant to it, or maybe I need to reassess something. Like I'll look at that. But you know, a lot of the time it's just people being assholes, and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah, like criticism in the YouTube comments is definitely not something to listen to unless it's very like well thought out, and you know it's something to give consideration to. But like a lot of people are so, I mean, and this is, you know, maybe let's take this out. A lot of people are really very dumb, or they're just not thinking. They're just commenting without giving it very much thought, and so that's not something to really give consideration to.
I think they just project. Most of the most horrible comments I've ever received have been on YouTube. And they always, it's the classic thing, like you said, like you don't pay attention to the YouTube comment section, right?
Yeah.
But ever since like I started doing shorts and I started throwing everything there as well, you get some, like you say, some real dumb fucks and some real mean people, but it's all projection. Like it's, because the reality is, like, constructive criticism will never be mean. It will just be, like, firm but fair. And they'll probably be respectful still, but they'll, you know, give you the criticism. But, like, these other people, it's always like, you know, shut up and die, and, oh, I hate you so much. You're so cringe. You know, you're so shit.
And that's, I mean, those are empty
Yeah, it doesn't mean
Those
anything.
are empty statements. Yeah.
They're just soulless bots, like some dick living in his parents' basement or some balding arsehole in his mid-40s. Like, it's like, stop projecting, bro. Like, get a life. You know, like, don't attack me just because you're miserable. You know, I'm making the most out of life. I'm making videos. I'm having a good time. You're not. And I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they
that's the
kind of
reality.
screwed themselves on that.
Well, look, at the end of the day, life throws shit at all of us. We all have hard times. The internet, and I've said this on streams before, that like the internet lies to you and makes you think that, like, if people think that my life is brilliant, then you're a fool. I might smile for the camera and be fun and be like, you know, hey, it's me, and I'm laughing. But, you know, life is fucking hard. It's been hard for years. But the difference is it's trying to find the balance in life and trying not to be too negative. I try to be authentic online. I think that's important, you know, to share in, like, hey, when things are tough, talk about it, you know, that's okay. But I don't want to like bum my audience out and make them miserable either. So I try to find the balance.
Yeah.
But I've noticed a lot of people don't do that. They're just trying to kind of paint this vision of life that they have, and like, this is my life, and it's not. But it's like, okay, you know, I don't know. Like, social media is a lie.
Yeah, a lot of people are very disingenuous on social media. You know, there's also like different levels of representation of yourself on social media, and like if all you want to post is like the positive stuff, I feel like you can post predominantly positive things while not painting yourself as that being your entire life.
Well, you do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I remember there was a guy I had on the show years ago called Nigel. He's from like Chicago. He lives in Manchester here. And he was, what was it? He said like social media is like not real or something like that. I was like, well, what did you mean by that comment? Because he said it in like a interview one time. And he was like, well, because like, if you look at mine, like, I do whatever the hell I want. And he says, like, here's a post from 5 years ago that I posted today. Here's some random thing I'm doing. Here's another thing that I just want to take a photo of. It doesn't matter. Do what you want. And it kind of just like, it blew my mind, because I was like, there's no rules. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, there's no one saying like, I'm sorry, but that photo was taken in 2018. You can't be saying that's 2026. Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Where's the social media, please?
This podcast was recorded in 2007. It's 2007 right now.
Really?
And that does, and it does.
I can't go back, man. I can't. No. Were you even alive then?
I was 3.
Yeah, I was going to say. How old was I? I was 12, maybe 13. Something like that. Yeah.
Wait, so it's just, you know, by doing math.
Hold on. No, yeah. Right. About 13-ish.
Which makes you now 31.
Close, 32.
32. Yeah. Cool. I have a friend.
33 this year.
I have a friend who's 32. He lives in, well, I don't want to dox him. But he and I, we call on the phone all the time. And, he's like, he used to take me climbing when I was younger, and we stayed in touch when he moved. And, I talked to him a lot. You guys are both 32, so.
Both old fucks. I've got some final questions for you to round things off, completely unrelated to today.
Yeah.
Bar one question. You ready?
Please. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. What has creating videos and being a YouTuber taught you about life?
About life?
About life.
What has it taught me about life? Life. Well, I guess it's taught me that I don't have an intelligent answer immediately. So I guess like creating things,
like if you
what comes to mind is creative output is very important to me. And I was just telling my girlfriend this yesterday. I was telling her that right now, because I haven't had much creative output recently, I've been feeling a little bit uncomfortable about that. And I think like in order for me to feel comfortable, I need to be consistently putting stuff out. Otherwise I get antsy. Creative output is like a very, I would say consistent creative output is what I find fulfilling. And I think it's also taught me to not take things so seriously, because once I start taking things too seriously, I stop putting as much stuff out, and I start I mean, it depends on what it depends on. I mean, saying like not to take life seriously is tough, because it just depends on what you take seriously. And I think when I don't know, to wrap up my point, what I've found to be fulfilling is creative output.
Right on.
In life.
What's the worst advice you've ever received?
I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be able to tell you, because I probably would have ignored it. Maybe. And also everything, like every piece of advice I've received that has resulted in a negative outcome, I've also been complicit in like taking the advice and carrying it out. So I feel like I don't know, it's all because it turns into an action that I take. I think it becomes my own actions.
It's
in life
as well. I think it's like taking responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, because I think it's very easy to do that and blame things on other people or other circumstances. It's tough to look back and be like, you know what? Like, it was on me. You know.
Yeah, I rolled a low perception check on that turn.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
I think probably just, I mean, I can't pinpoint a specific instance of someone telling me something, but like taking things as they come and just kind of not spiraling, like recognizing when you're spiraling about something and like catastrophizing, because that, you know, if one thing's going wrong, that doesn't mean that you're completely, that you're totally screwed. Like you can move on, you can get better and improve.
Right on. What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
Man, these are big questions. The biggest life lesson that I've learned so far is, I don't know. I do not know.
I'm lost for words.
Like, I guess like, like be kind. I don't know. Be yourself. But like, I don't know.
It was good. The whole point of these questions is just kind of like what comes naturally, you know. I think sometimes it feels like pressure, like, oh, it's a big question, I have to come up with something perfect. And it's like I've learned a lot over the years. People occasionally will throw the fucking questions back at me, and I'm like, shit. God damn it. But, you know, you just think about what resonates for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that you've had like a really interesting journey, and I think it's amazing. You know, you're not burnt out. You've got a good attitude. You look at this content thing as it's your passion. It's what you do.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've been doing it a long time. You're a veteran. You know, think about it. It's true. You know, and then you got the next chapter coming, and I wish you the very best with it. Final question for you: do you have any upcoming projects or final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Just on my YouTube channel, which is called Conrad's channel.
Conrad's channel.
Yeah, I'm making this. I'm working. I'm trying to start filming something right now. I'm making this mockumentary, and that's going to be a big project that I'm super excited about. and I got to finish it by the end of the semester. So you'll definitely see it in the next couple of months. And I'm also, when I graduate, I'm a few months after I graduate, I'm moving to Los Angeles, where my uncle lives there, and I'm going to stay with him, and I'm supposed to be applying for jobs right now. I'm going to be applying for jobs soon. So I'm trying to get a job in Los Angeles.
I wish you the very best of luck, Conrad. It's been an absolute pleasure, like listening to your story, just shooting the shit with you, having a bit of fun.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
You too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. And yeah, man, keep making your fantastic content. And all the best.
Thank you. You too.
To all the listeners of the Christian Reeve Podcast, thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one.